I had a crush on someone for 5 years, and now he's with my roommate, all thanks to my matchmaking. I still vividly remember that day.
We're here.
Jason said as he opened the car door. I looked at the boy standing in front of me, my heart pounding.
Go back safely.
He didn't respond, just walked around the car, opened the door, and got in with swift, fluid movements, leaving only the exhaust fumes lingering in the air. I was staring at the car's receding figure when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around to see Emily standing in front of me.
Sarah, who was that who just dropped you off?
I swallowed instinctively, noticing the amazement and interest in her eyes.
A high school friend, a good buddy.
In truth, what I wanted to say was, he's the one I like.
Does he have a special someone?
No.
Then
Emily started excitedly, but I interrupted her.
But he likes someone.
Before anything is confirmed, can I compete fairly?
I nodded absent-mindedly. I didn't hear what she said next as we walked back to the dorm together. Emily excitedly talked to our roommates.
Let me tell you, Sarah has a classmate who's super handsome and single. I saw him drop her off just now. Do you know what love at first sight is? This is it.
I took my clothes to the bathroom. When I came out, Emily was sitting on my bed.
I looked at her, and she stood up, hugging my arm and playfully said,
Introduce him to me, please.
She didn't say who, but I knew. I instinctively wanted to shake my head, but then she added,
I knew you were the best.
My heart softened, and I nodded. She hugged me and kissed my cheek. I watched her pick out clothes in front of the wardrobe, then dialed the familiar number. The call connected quickly.
Hello.
Jason?
He sounded a bit puzzled.
Do you have time tomorrow? I want to treat you to a meal.
Our relationship allowed for occasional meetups and meals. But this time was different. I was setting him up with Emily.
I have time tomorrow.
His voice was steady, his emotions unreadable. After he hung up, a message popped up on my WeChat. It was an address.
I called out to Emily, who was picking out clothes. I got you a date.
She was thrilled, saying something I didn't catch. The next day, I forwarded the address to Emily and planned to stay in the dorm. After all, it was their time together, why should I interfere? Emily left about an hour and a half ago. I guessed she had arrived by now. I opened my phone. She had sent me a photo of Jason. I zoomed in on his face, tracing his expression with my eyes. I put my phone down, forcing myself not to look at the messages. Emily was so beautiful. Even if I were a man, I'd be attracted to her, especially since she liked Jason so much. I didn't know how long I waited until I fell asleep. The creak of the door woke me. I sat up and looked towards the dorm entrance.
Thanks for bringing me back today.
She smiled brightly, a genuine smile I had never seen before.
You're welcome.
I heard Jason's voice. I didn't dare look at him.
Sarah, come out.
His voice was calm, emotionless. I braced myself and walked out. At the hallway entrance, he grabbed my wrist.
Sarah, who is she?
A friend. She saw you when you dropped me off and wanted your contact information.
I tried to keep my voice steady.
So, you set us up?
His tone was calm, slightly teasing, his emotions unreadable.
Thanks, she's very cute.
Jason's words pierced me deeply. It seemed he liked Emily a lot. I didn't understand. He had never shown such interest in any girl before, never called anyone cute, including me. This meeting with Emily was my plan, but I regretted it. They seemed to have exchanged numbers. Every night, I could hear them talking and sending voice messages. Emily's phone played his voice, though muffled and distant, I knew it was him. Sarah never dared to ask Emily how far their relationship had progressed. Until that day, she finished her work early and headed back to the dorm. Standing at the door, she heard Emily and Jason's voices.
Actually, from the first moment I saw you, I liked you because I felt you had an irresistible charm.
Sarah gently pushed open the door and saw Emily hugging Jason's waist.
I know.
He didn't push her away but instead embraced her. When he looked at Emily, there was a special sparkle in his eyes, a sparkle Sarah had never seen when he was with her. From that moment, she knew she had lost, completely and utterly.
Oh, Sarah. I didn't see you there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes, what right did she have to be sad? She was the one who had pushed Emily towards him, she had no right to be sad. She thought Jason wouldn't be moved. He had never been moved by anyone before, never. Jason didn't say anything, just put some distance between him and Emily, though their hands remained tightly clasped.
You're back. Well,
I know, I understand. After all, I played matchmaker for you too. Why not treat me to a meal? She joked with a smile, though her heart was aching as if it were bleeding.
Her scalp tingled as she watched their sweet interaction, wanting only to escape. She was indeed feeling guilty, her palms were sweaty, but she couldn't tell anyone because Jason would never like her. She had known for a long time that he wouldn't like a girl like her. Only someone as beautiful and talented as Emily could match him. But she still wondered, if she had told him those 3 words back then, would everything have been different?
Sure, I'm free tomorrow. I'll join you and Emily for a meal to thank you for introducing me to such a wonderful girlfriend.
Emily, such an affectionate nickname. He had never called her Sarah. His eyes were so gentle. She had once imagined what it would be like if those eyes could become gentle, bright, and passionate. Today, she saw it, but the person who made him change was not her.
All right.
She agreed, then found some excuse and left the dormitory. Jason's words pierced deeply. He seemed to like Emily a lot.
Sad, thanks, she's very cute.
It seemed he never showed such interest in any girl before, including me.
Regretful, this meeting with Emily was my plan, but I regretted it.
They seemed to have exchanged numbers. Every night, I could hear them talking and sending voice messages. Emily's phone played his voice, though muffled and distant, I knew it was him.
Hey, what's your name?
Lucy.
He asked where I lived and what department I was in, but I could barely remember the details. The next morning, I woke up in my dorm bed with a splitting headache. The person who brought me back last night, I vaguely remembered, told me he was a junior from the computer science department.
Was that real or just a dream?
I shook my head, drank a glass of honey water, and after a while, the headache eased a bit.
Sarah, someone is looking for you. They've been waiting downstairs for a while.
I quickly tidied up and went downstairs to see who it was.
You.
James, I was the one who brought you back last night. I'm a junior from the computer science department.
He smiled warmly, something about his kindness felt off.
Thank you.
I nodded but didn't shake his hand. For some reason, I felt his warmth had another meaning. He didn't seem entirely sincere, and I didn't like that.
Who is this, Lucy?
Jason,
Before I could finish, James pulled me into his arms.
Hello, I'm Lucy's boyfriend.
I tried to push him away, but I couldn't, he was much stronger than me. I was shocked and wanted to explain, but his hand held mine, and in that moment, his warmth transferred from his hand to mine, and then to my heart, almost burning me. Against my better judgment, I didn't say anything. Or maybe, deep down, I wanted to see if Jason cared. I stayed quietly in his arms, and Jason just looked at us without saying a word. He stared straight into my eyes, a look I would never forget. I lowered my gaze, not wanting to meet his eyes.
When did Lucy get a boyfriend? How come I, her old friend, didn't even have the right to know?
No.
We just confirmed our relationship.
James exchanged a few words with him. Then Emily arrived. Seeing them together, a perfect match, my heart felt like it was being pricked by needles.
We agreed to have lunch together, so we won't keep you.
James seemed to notice my discomfort and pulled me away from the battlefield.
Sorry about earlier.
Once out of their sight, he quickly let go of my hand.
Because that night you were tipsy and kept talking about him, so when I heard his name, I knew something was wrong. I lied. You won't blame me, right?
It's okay. Weren't we going to have lunch? Let's go, my treat.
Even a stranger could see my discomfort, but after 5 years, he couldn't. Or maybe, he just didn't care. During lunch, James told me that he saw me sitting at the hotel entrance, looking like a stray kitten, making him want to take me home.
I had never seen anyone cry like you, so helpless it made me feel sorry.
What's with the bite mark behind your ear?
I noticed a row of teeth marks behind his ear, seemingly fresh. Did I bite him while he was carrying me? My face turned red instantly.
Scratched by a little wildcat. Shouldn't the wildcat take responsibility?
Don't be silly. How could a wildcat take responsibility? How about I take you to get a rabies shot?
He was adorable, and I felt completely relaxed around him, all my psychological pressure gone. In my pursuit of Jason, I had become somewhat insecure, unconsciously idealizing him, making myself feel small and sensitive in his presence. One day, There's a significant difference between Lucy, you like me, and Sarah, I like you. Jason's words were condescending, like a king acknowledging a subject. But James's words were sincere, just wanting to let me know he liked me without expecting anything in return. At this moment, I seemed to have made a decision. I placed the boiling kettle where Jason could see it when he awoke, gently covered him with a blanket, and quietly left his room. He was still murmuring something in his sleep. Leaving him alone made me uneasy, so I went to the balcony and called Emily.
Emily, can you come over and take care of Jason? He's not feeling well.
Sure, I'll be right over.
It was raining outside when I returned to school. The sun had just set, and the moon had risen. The bright moonlight fell down, and I reached out from under the umbrella, letting the raindrops fall on my fingertips. The moonlight refracted, making the drops sparkle like gems. Wet and cool, just like my indescribable mood at the moment. Lost in thought, a familiar voice came from behind.
Sarah, what are you doing here?
I turned around to see James. He was drenched, his white t-shirt clinging to his body, revealing his well-toned physique. I blushed instantly. I raised the umbrella over his head, but it was useless. The cold wind was biting, and James shivered. I got nervous and grabbed his hand, trying to pull him under the eaves. His body was cold, and he gently withdrew his hand from mine.
What's wrong, James?
Sarah, I'm soaked. If you stay close, your clothes will get wet.
It's okay, I can change them.
He was here waiting for me because I had gone after Jason. Seeing him drenched like this made my heart ache.
I saw you hugging him.
His voice was small, and he watched my expression as he spoke. I could tell he was upset but didn't show it to spare my feelings.
It's impossible between him and me.
I saw the light return to his previously dim eyes, and before I could react, he pulled me into a hug, then quickly stepped back into the rain.
Sorry, I got your clothes wet.
He was so cute, I had never seen such an adorable boy.
I don't blame you. Come back, it's raining heavily.
Hearing my words, he belatedly returned under the eaves.
You're all wet. Wait here, I'll change my clothes first, then we'll find you some dry ones.
Thinking about how we were supposed to watch a movie together, but I left midway for Jason, and now he was drenched because of me, even worried about getting me wet from a hug, made my heart ache. James was like me once, pouring all his passion into someone who never looked back. James wouldn't have to go through the same heartache and heartbreak as I did.
Thanks! She's very cute!
Jason's words pierced me deeply. It seemed he liked Emily a lot.
I don't understand. He had never shown such interest in any girl before, never called anyone cute, including me.
This meeting with Emily was my plan, but I regretted it. They seemed to have exchanged numbers. Every night, I could hear them talking and sending voice messages. Emily's phone played his voice, though muffled and distant, I knew it was him. Jason's words pierced deeply. Thanks, she's very cute, he said, clearly smitten with Emily.
Why does he like her so much? He never showed such interest in anyone before.
Lucy had orchestrated the meeting between Jason and Emily, but she now regretted it. They exchanged numbers and spoke every night.